Grind don't stop. Grind don't stop. Grind don't stop. Grind don't stop. Grind don't stop.
Hello.
I'm just
Welcome
over
to
here,
Chewed Gum.
not paying attention. It's great.
That's fine. I was plugging my phone in. We're only human, okay? We're only human. It is Tuesday, April 29th, and this is Chewed Gum. I'm Alyssa. I'm a sex and relationship coach. We are joined by Promise/Eve. When are we gonna do you think do Promise?
I feel like when people stop leaving comments saying which one is Eve and which one is Promise, but maybe that's how we stop that. Maybe we just take away the slash. Also, I had somebody
really
comment
funny.
on something recently saying, "You look so much like Promise from The Line." I was like, guess what? I'm going to blow your mind. It's actually one and the same. So,
Wait,
I get it.
Contacts out, guys.
I did this to everybody else. Alyssa and I are on struggle bus. But we're here. So this may not be the longest show, but it will be high quality as always, whatever that means.
Whatever that means. I put this on my Instagram story too, that I'm like in my PMS like situation right now, and I yesterday morning cried over the most random things. Like, I was looking at wedding TikToks to like plan for my sister, and I cried looking at wedding TikToks, and then I found another TikTok that was just like about moms, and I cried because I love my mom so much. Like, it was just, it was like an unreasonably emotional day. So, we're in that space.
I feel you. We were texting earlier because I am also PMSing like crazy, and I was taking ibuprofen, and then you were telling me about, which, do not take this as medical advice, everybody. This is just friend chat, because there apparently are no scientific studies yet to back this, but there's been some girly talk about Pepsid AC. Is that right? Yeah, helping with PMDD symptoms. So anyways, this is a very chewed gum episode that we're bringing to you. If you guys want to call us, 720-619-2288. This could be a very exciting night for a theist to call us. You never know how that conversation will go.
Truly.
I feel like this is the one time where you and I have both had like our hair kind of similarly styled and similar color, and our makeup similar, like all of the things I feel very sisterly right now. And I love it.
Yeah, girl. Also, one of your
Yeah.
sister's reels came up on my explore page, and I was like, this girl looks a lot like Promise. And then I clicked on it, and I was like, oh my God. It was Glory. And I was like, oh my God. And it was,
she's in New York like you, so makes sense.
is she?
Yeah.
That's really cool. We should hang out. Maybe
Yeah,
next time.
sure.
Well, you should come visit Glory and then hang out with
Then we
us.
all hang out. That would be so fun. Since
Yeah.
we still haven't met in person. Which we missed you at American Atheists. I got to meet so many of our listeners. If you guys are watching right now, hello. I already miss you. We did FaceTime you. Tide and I did, which was amazing. Precious.
I was freaking out. I was so excited. That was so cool. And I was like not expecting that. I know I asked for the FaceTime, but I just like kind of, I don't know. I just didn't know if we were actually gonna like do it. I was so happy that you did. It was so cool.
Did. I was just happy that you answered. And then you and I were like, this is our first time FaceTiming.
Yeah. Well, because we see each other like on video every week, actually. And so I guess I just never really thought about like we'll do voice notes to each other. And honestly, I think that like that you are one of my only friends. Not my only friend, but one of my only friends who like really understands how like weirdly busy jobs like this can be. And so many times like a FaceTime just feels like too much. Especially it's also a weird job because I feel always socially burnt out, but like it's hard to really understand how. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's like always socially burnt out, but then like only ever doing more, and it's always great. I'm never like, well, I sure wish that I didn't say yes to that thing. It's always amazing. It's always great. Yeah. I love this work so much. But you're right. It's like having to be on all the time. And even when it looks like you're just like out doing some fun thing, a lot of times, almost always, it's still work related in its own way. So
yeah,
I feel you.
Yeah, 100%.
I wanted to ask how you've been because we haven't hung out here on Chewed Gum in a couple of weeks because of your power going out, which was crazy.
That was
upsetting.
Like 15 minutes before the show started. Yeah, it went out 15 minutes before the show started, and I was like, this can't be real. This is like actually my nightmare. I've thought about this before where like randomly my power will go out here because I kind of am in like the boonies of New York, but I'm like, the one day that it really, really matters that it does not go out is like 15 minutes before I do the live show. It's just like exactly what happened.
It was,
and then I was in LA.
Very scary. Very scary.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I was in LA for my boyfriend's birthday, and that was really fun. And now my sister is getting married on Saturday, and you know, it's stressful, but it's been great, and I'm so excited. I'm excited for the day to finally be here because there's, you know, what's something gum, and I feel like this is a good space to explain. What's so annoying is figuring out the timing of things like the day that I'm gonna shave or wax, and then the day that I'm gonna self tan, and then the day that I'm gonna wash my hair. Like, I have to figure out like the puzzle pieces of how that's gonna go, and it's so stressful. Dude. I like literally I was like, I'm gonna exfoliate today so that I can shave tomorrow, so I can put self tanner on the next day. I'm like, I have to plan this out like so. It's just
literally right before.
It's just so stressful
because I'm leaving next week for Europe for months and months, and we're gonna, you know, be there all the time and be back and forth. And so I decided that this time I'm not going to I'm not going to pack any toiletries like shampoo and skincare and makeup and all of that, because I can actually buy products that I enjoy more from France and have it delivered to Finland, which I can't do here. And so I was like sitting there, like each thing that I need, like, what do I need so that I can just have it all waiting there for me? I'm having it delivered, like, to be there when I get there. And it was just like, this is so annoying. The kind of thought I have to put into like, this part of my skin needs this thing and this, that. And then I need sunscreen because the sun isn't going to set all summer, which is great. But it's like, it's just a lot of work. It's just a lot. We really are in our phase-ness. Well, I guess I'm out of mine now.
Truly.
I'm on the brink. It's not good. We still have never done our period episode. Remember we talked about that in the beginning? We were going to talk about like tampons and periods and all the things.
Yeah.
Eventually
Yeah,
it will
and have
happen.
people just call in and ask questions. We really should. That would be great. But there was something else you were going to bring up in the begining of the show. What was it?
I was just going to complain for a moment because I feel like this is a safe place. It's a complaint. It's a complaint / I'm so grateful for our little chewed gum community. And you all know who I'm talking about. Like, if you think I'm talking about you, yes, that means you. Because I posted, which Alyssa knows how this goes, I posted a video saying that, which I have done this many times over the last few years, but like hadn't done it in a minute. And I was like, oh, I'll remind everybody. I'll read you guys what it said. Fun fact, the concept of virginity has zero scientific basis. Throughout history, it has been used primarily as a tool of shame and control. Not having sex or having sex does not equal damaged goods. So I posted that. The comments were delightful. They were calling me ran through. They were calling me every variation of whore possible. They were calling me bus route. I think you commented on that one. Just like, what a lovely time. So then I thought it would be funny because I was like, okay, whatever. Uh-oh, you're muted maybe.
Oh, sorry. I just said the bus route comment was crazy.
Really crazy. So also keep in mind that I have, like, not that this matters at all, but it's just like my poor little purity culture scarred self has not like I've kissed 5 people in my entire life. So like reading these, I'm just like, oh, what? Why would, like, this is crazy. So then I think like, okay, whatever. I expected that. So I decided to post a video with Yuka in it because we were dying laughing reading through these comments. So the video was then like my husband and I laughing at comments calling me bus route and whore and all of that simply because I said that virginity is a social construct. That video on Facebook right now has over 7,000 comments, and they are making it really hard to like not just be furious at a large group of men, boys, I should say. It is every worst kind of comment you can possibly imagine. My DMs are full of just like disgusting stuff. So that's been frustrating. And what's really helped me is remembering some of the amazing men that have called in, that have talked to us, that we've had really good conversations with, and remembering like this does not represent, you know, even a percentage. This is just like a small, loud group. But rarely do these things get to me. And this has just been like, are you kidding me? Like, this is so vile. You guys clearly hate women. Yeah. It seems like you hate sex with women too, because you're trying to shame us for that. It's just interesting. Anyways, I just wanted to share that with you guys because it's really gross.
I think it's also, I think part of why they are getting so upset in the comments is because them calling you a bus route or whatever, it didn't land. And now they're upset because not only are you not that, you also don't care, and you also still got married to a person who is handsome and funny and loves you so much.
And they're calling him a simp and a cuck, which I had to Google that word because I was so unfamiliar.
So sorry.
And so it's just like, I think also,
calling someone a simp is crazy.
For loving their wife,
like, who wouldn't want their partner? Yeah. Also, yeah, so like wild. Literally, like, fellas, is it gay to love your wife? Like, what are we talking about?
So wild. And I'll clarify, it's not the like personal comments that are upsetting to me. What's upsetting, or that's too strong a word, what's really disappointing and sad to me is the sheer amount of hatred and vitriol directed toward just women existing that represents. Yeah. And I have to remind myself, like, there is a lot of fear behind it. There's a lot of like personal issues behind it and all of that these people clearly have. Because I don't want to go down that route of, which I understand when women do, but the whole just like, oh, stupid incels, like they don't even worth acknowledging. It's like, these are real people, and that's what makes it so sad and disappointing. So on the flip
Mhm.
side, here we are in this place where I'm so grateful for the conversations that we have. I'm really grateful that we address this stuff. Alyssa, I'm especially grateful for you that you do the work that you do and you have these conversations and that you're able to communicate so well and also have my back, you know, when I need it, but also, you know, you're not afraid to engage and be like, okay, let's hear the worst idea you got. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Did
She
you
means
also
metaphorically. She means
see? I
metaphorically.
got obviously. I've never gotten in like a physical fight in my life. I would never start now, but I got removed from, or Cash App used to be part of my payment processor, and they removed me from their platform because they, like, I think it was something like they can't work with my kind of business anymore. Isn't that crazy?
That is
Insane.
absolutely wild. Like,
It like I
ugh.
spiraled a little bit because of that, because I just kept thinking like this administration is going to make my job so much harder. And it was a weird moment where like there are a lot of ways where the administration affects me, and there are a lot of ways where the administration affects others way more than me, but this is a way that is like such a direct where like
Yeah.
it was a weird experience to be like, wow, this is like literally a straight line from like the administrational climate that we're in right now, that like I got removed from a payment processor. And that can happen for a bunch of others because they're all privately owned. So like technically if I open like a business account with Citi or something, they can remove me as a customer and like, you know, void my bank account because they don't want to work with my business. Same thing with PayPal, MasterCard, like, you know, it's so
That's so
interesting.
scary. That's really scary. On that note, though,
Yeah.
I feel like you never bring this up. Where can people go to support and like follow you or whatever, be involved in all the things and support you? Like, what are the main ways they can do that?
Well, so I do have like, so I have a coaching business, and if you are interested in one-on-one coaching, you can go to my website, and it's alyssaljub.net. Oh, am I cutting out? I hope not.
I'm trying to see
It's
if it's just me.
alyssaljub.net. It's spelled like my Instagram. Yeah, it might be. I'm seeing a no in the chat, so I hope. Someone asked what
Great,
my job
good.
is. I'm a sex and relationship coach, and I'm educated through an ASEC certified program as a sex educator. So I have a lot of information about sexuality, and I have a one-on-one coaching business. And I also offer a lot of other stuff that's not like full one-on-one coaching. If you're ever interested in doing that, you can go to my website. It's alyssaljub.net. I also, per the request of people in my Ask Me Anything box, if you go to the link that's in my Instagram bio and scroll down, there's like a tip feature, which is so interesting. So if you ever wanted to do that, I realized earlier I hadn't gotten a single, I've gotten only one brand deal this entire year, and it's April. And I realized later that a part of that is most sex toys are made in China because they have really fine-tuned the mechanics of sex toys and the silicone, the type of silicone, the silicone molds, like the expertise is in China. And people have been really bearing down on their expenses. And so I it's like a huge part of my income that I haven't gotten this entire year. And it's, again, like it's weird to think of like the direct line between the administration and like what my literal income is, because I guess I just like didn't think about it that much. Because I don't know. I just have I previously worked in like corporate jobs, and I just like didn't really think about it. But yeah. So anyway,
Go support
that's
our
that. And
girl,
also super chats,
everybody.
like super chats also, like we all get paid. We're so grateful we get paid to do these shows, and all of those super chats are like, you know, divided among the whole line. And so that's always a really nice way to support not only me, but all of the hosts here too. So, you know.
Yes.
That's that.
Exciting
It's a crazy
times we're all
time.
in. Well,
Truly.
also on that note, we will be taking super chats of $5 or more, but we should probably get to our first caller. Do you see one that looks particularly interesting to you?
Let's see. Well, we have some theists. We have a bunch, actually.
We do.
I don't know. What do you think?
Shall we start with AJ? The first theist we have on hold here? Let's see if I can do it. Hi,
Yes,
AJ.
hello.
You are live on Chewed Gum with Promise and Alyssa. How are you?
I'm really nervous, first of all, because I've never called into a live show, but otherwise I'm good, I think.
Thanks for calling. Well, we'll be very nice.
Thank you.
We totally get it.
Great. Well, basically, okay, so here's my situation. I'm part of a rather small but like tightly knit religious community. And I've sort of gone forwards and back throughout my life, whether I believe in God or not. I do right now. I feel I've had some experiences that, lead me to that, but that's not really what it's about. What it's about is that in the last few years and months particularly, I feel like my religious community, like a very large faction has become like just like immoral, basically. Like they're very, very mean. They're very sort of anti any sort of politics that is like not allowed sort of in the congregation. They're horrible to each other and to me and to a lot of my friends, like online and stuff like that. And it's really bothering me. It's not what I have been taught that our religion is about. And I've talked to like religious leaders and like high members of my community about this. But they basically said that like there's nothing that can be done and people are very upset and angry. And I'm just like, I'm at the edge of my rope. I'm at the edge now where I feel like I can't be here anymore. Like it's horrible. It's terrible. Like it ended with just not too long ago, basically a dear friend of mine who wants to like become part of our religion. And he's like politically engaged in sort of leftist politics that, a lot of the community doesn't like. And basically our religious leader told him straight up that they will not like convert him because there's such a large part of the congregation that actively hate him. And if he was to join the congregation, then the religious leader will be risking their job. And I'm like, this is not acceptable. I don't know how to do with this. But my, first of all, it's a very strong community. Like I've been part of it all my life. And secondly, because I've gone forwards and back, like on my theism contra my atheism, like when I feel religious, it's very linked to my community. And so I'm really scared that if I leave, not only am I gonna, leave a bunch of friends that I do enjoy, but also like that my faith might disappear too. And I'm like really scared of that because it feels like it almost feels dishonest to just, flip flop whether you believe in God or not all the time. So I don't know, I guess I just wanted to call with some like general tips and tricks, I suppose. Like how do you deal with like leaving a community like this or like what do you do,
Well, first, I so appreciate you calling and sharing with us, and I think everything you're saying sound like I relate to that so much. I think a little different than like the country that Alyssa and I are in, you are probably going to have an easier time finding communities outside of religion. Now I understand easier said than done, but all that to say they are there. I was just looking up because I was recently at American Atheist Convention and there's a lot of humanist organizations. So it doesn't matter if you're atheist or you're religious, if you're a humanist, if you have those kinds of shared values, they have some amazing communities. And a lot of those people happen to be people that have left religious communities as well, because obviously they understand the value of community and working together and organizing together, but they found that their values exceed those of the religious people that they left behind. So on a practical level, I would look into some of the humanist organizations. I just looked it up, and it looks like there's some really great ones in Sweden. And also, please feel free to email me so that I can connect you with some of the people that I know in the Nordic world that are doing similar work that I'm doing, because I'd love to help you with that. But also, another thing to throw at you is Recovering from Religion. They have their website, recoveringfromreligion.org, and they have a chat or where you can call them, and they will talk to you about these things specifically and these exact fears that you're talking about and concerns, which are all so normal and very valid. It isn't like there are consequences to leaving religion, and unless you've done that before, I don't think people really understand the weight of it. So I would check them out as well, because they, even just having some online community to start with, or somebody to voice some of these, like, hey, am I crazy here? Because this feels not okay, that'll help you out a lot. Those are just off the top of my head. Alyssa, what do you think while I continue thinking?
Well, do you think that is there a world where you can still be friends with some of these people, even if you're not participating in the church with them? Like, is there a way where you can find, maybe this is a time to, if you're still feeling strong about your faith in God in general, maybe this is a time where you can explore new churches and see if there's one that's a little more suited to what you're looking for, and still be able to, have a conversation with the people you're closest with and say, hey, some stuff that's been going on with the organization is a little, off-putting to me. And so I've decided to just kind of like seek, religious community elsewhere, but I still would really like to be your friend. And like, is there space, you think, for that?
I think so. Yeah, definitely with, the people who matter. Really,
Yeah.
I'm sure there is. I suppose, because I have tried talking to basically everyone I've been able to get a hold of this. But everyone's just sort of that, like, everyone's like, at least the people who are sort of close to me, and are like, yes, this is horrible, it's terrible, it's bad that this is going on, but, and they sort of shake their heads and move on with their day. Like, it feels like I'm the one, like me, and obviously the, people who try to convert and like the closet like that. It feels like it sort of bothers us in a way that it doesn't really bother other people, and that's also sort of the problem. I kind of feel like, I feel like the entire community is like rotting from the inside out, and like no one cares.
Yeah.
It also sort of bothers me. But yeah, I mean, 100%. I could definitely still be friends with people, but I guess it's the fear of that, like the sense of community you have when you are in,
Sure.
a religious building and you're all worshiping together, and that's because that's something special, obviously,
Yeah, I totally get that. And that was one of my fears when I was leaving. If this is anecdotal, but for whatever help it is, I will say that I have experienced that sense of community and that feeling of peace and joy way, way, way more since I left. Because now when I'm in community with other people, it's with people that I share values with. And it's not with people where there's this tension if I don't think exactly like them. Because I think very differently than a lot of my friends, but we have some very important shared values. So it makes those experiences so, so, so much better. I also totally get you express that fear, like, what if this is the only thing keeping you tied to your faith, and that if you no longer have this community, you won't feel motivated to believe anymore. That's a normal fear, but I think that until you follow it all the way through, you're just going to feel tension, and the tension feels so much worse than prioritizing figuring out what is true and what isn't, and what you believe. You're a resilient human. You are going to come out on the other side of this. You're going to find community. You're already calling in to ask for help. You're already showing that you value yourself and your life enough to make sure it's one of quality. And so if I had to guess, it's this in between time that's probably going to feel the worst, because when you're caught in the tension of like where your actual values are and what you're participating in or who you're around, that is such an awful feeling. And I was there for several years. The other side of it, like it was like there was a day where, you know, for lack of better words, all hell broke loose in my head. And I like asked all the questions I had been avoiding. I just fully went for it. And I felt so much relief on the other side. I felt like a completely different person in all the best ways possible, where I got to really be myself. And through that, through me becoming authentically myself and feeling at peace with where I landed with my beliefs or lack thereof, I then became somebody I really like, and now have found people that I like who I am when I'm around them in return, you know, and I found hobbies that I didn't know I had before. I found things that I enjoy going out and doing that I didn't know before, that I've met people through. So if nothing else, I do want to just offer you that it already sounds like you're on an amazing track, that you're acknowledging that community is an important thing to you. You're acknowledging that faith is a scary thing to lose. Just being honest and realistic is going to help you when you get to the other side of everything, whatever that looks like.
Man. Right. Just a question after ask. What was it, Alyssa? What was it that your job was again? Were you a sex therapist?
Sex and relationship coach. So not a therapist, but better. Yeah.
Yes. No, because it really feels like, you know, I'm feeling the coaching. I really am.
The coaching handy.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, I guess what else can I say except thank you very much. I'm not as nervous anymore, which is good. You've calmed me down with your very informed answers. And I was going to say, Promise, what was the email that you recommended that I could write to get in touch with some?
You can email me, and I will get you those resources that I already know of. And my email is evewasframed.contact@gmail.com.
At gmail.com. Okay, great. I got it written
down. Of course.
Down.
And please feel free to call back anytime. If you ever want to call even and talk about like some of the things you still believe, but you just want to kind of go back and forth with someone on a bit, I think Alyssa and I can be a pretty safe, chill space to do that. We don't have to do like, you know, debate style where we're just like, you're wrong and you shouldn't believe this stupid stuff. If you need somebody to kind of have that pushback conversation with on some things to help you maybe think it through in a different way, like please feel free to call us back anytime, or just to update us on how things are going.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely gonna do that, because this was really pleasant. So thank you very much. To hear it. I'll be in touch, and I'll call back and update and all that stuff probably. So yeah,
thanks so much, AJ. Have a great evening. Or
thanks, AJ.
Bye.
Bye. Hey.
So nice. See, this is what I mean.
That was so nice.
We just have lovely, even when we have like, I'm going to say that and then I'm going to regret saying that, but even our theist callers just have lovely conversations.
Yeah, I know.
We have more theists. Shall we continue down the theist route?
Let's go down the line. I also, my allergies are so bad, so I'm going to blow my nose on the side.
I'm so sorry. Okay, do it. I'm going to pull Sam on the line. Hello, Sam. You are on with Promise and Alyssa, who is momentarily blowing her nose, but she's here too.
Hello,
How are
guys.
you doing?
How are you?
Hi, Sam.
I'm doing good.
We're good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Sorry, the lag is really bad
I'm
today.
sure you guys remember. Yeah, I'm aware. Yeah, I actually I believe that was 3 weeks ago. We were actually on the line and the connection got cut off. Actually, it was this issue came from my end because the connection here can be terrible. So I'm sure, I don't know if you guys remember, I mentioned, or I brought up this personal story, the story of my friend who, this, that they were complaining about, their previous experience relating to, relating to, I don't know, like encounters or I don't know how else to put it. Um, and and I said like, okay, I try to do more research and to understand what this thing is all about. So I received a message the other day by someone, and he said, how come you don't actually know this all stuff? How come you didn't know this stuff? And I was like, I'm actually like, I live in a Middle Eastern country, so I do not like, I wouldn't know what like what hookup culture, quote unquote, mean, or premarital. I didn't know what these terms meant until recently, because here in my country, usually people, the vast majority of people, you know, uh, there's no such thing. For example, of course, there's no such thing as premarital. It's all people here mostly like they save their virginity for marriage, and so it's not a common thing, and so my friends, and there's some people, it's kind of rare, but there are some people who do engage in casual sex from time to time. But usually these individuals, like, they either do it secretly, or if publicly, they'll be, it could happen, but they will certainly be looked down upon. And especially, of course, women, as per usual, that's what happens in these cultures. Um, so the what was I going to say? So this is again like this is. Oh, actually, I remember my this friend that I was talking about when she mentioned that the last casual encounter she had. I said, okay, what went wrong with this encounter? And she said quite interestingly, she said, this guy with whom she had, casual sex, he was actually, he's not from here. He was from Europe or some country or some European country. And then he came to my country. I mean, promise, she knows I'm like in Egypt. So he came to Egypt, and they had like, they met, and they had a like, a relation, like sexual relation or whatever. And she said there's something that really bugged her, and that is actually the guy. He said to her, and that literally that question shocked her. He said, "What do you think your mother would do if she found out that you're not a virgin?" And she was taken aback. She was shocked by the question, and she couldn't stop thinking about it ever since, because her mother, she grew up in a culture where where this kind of stuff is obviously forbidden, and any person who engage in that obviously will be, sidelined or mistreated. But even in some extreme countries like Pakistan or other countries, thankfully I don't live in these countries, but they can have like honor killing, where they would literally kill the girl for engaging in this. And so
Mm.
that's what really, that's what drew me into it. And also, as a curious person, I asked actually one of my someone in my family, I asked him about this, about about the casual premarital sex. And he said, yeah, this is the law of the jungle, basically. Like, people who abide by the rule by, he said, little people who abide by the law of jungle, they would pretty much do anything. Like, they would have, they would sleep with someone, and then when they're done with this person, they will jump to another person. And I was like, yeah, it doesn't work that way. But so, so, so yeah, the perception of like the perception in my culture is drastically different. And
Mm.
so that's what I try to learn more about it, because I was basically, and I also, yeah. Do you have anything to say, or should I?
Yeah, I wanted to chime in about the like the animal comparison, because there's a lot of ways where human beings are so different than animals. And you know, I hear this will say this to me. I don't eat meat. I haven't eaten meat in a really long time. And people will say to me, "Well, it's the circle of life, food chain, and humans can eat whatever they want." And I'm like, "Yeah, they absolutely can, because I'm a human. I can make a choice, because I can, like, I have the ability to have a conscience and make thoughts. And if for me my choice is to not eat it, that's okay. That's a choice that I can make. I can make other arrangements for other types of food I can eat. It's a similar thing when you're talking about like the animalistic nature of sex. Like, animals have sex, or most animals have sex,
Right.
but human beings are so the only ones, excuse me, that do it for pleasure on top of doing it for procreation. And I think that it's
Right.
really foolish and naive to think that humans only have procreation. Um, it's just
Mm.
not true. Um, and part is because we have a different level of thinking than most animals do. We are able to
Of course.
have different level of thought. If I am I
Right.
cutting out a little bit for you, Sam?
No. I get it. I can hear you perfectly. I get what you're saying.
I
Okay.
think another thing to keep in mind is a lot of these, as you mentioned, this is part of culture, and it sounds to be a key part of religious culture, which we experience here in the States as well on the Christian side of things. And
Right.
they use fear to get people to stick to it, because it's a good way to control people. If you can control what people do privately with their own body, then you can control all kinds of things, like the way they think and what they believe, and then who they put in power and who they listen to and all of that. And part of the fear tactic is to kind of offer it up as these two choices. Basically, either you remain pure and you follow the rules exactly, or you're going to be no better than an animal, which we are animals, and to say that, oh, now you're either going to go from being so pure to, like, as they're calling me on social media right now for no reason, a whore
Right.
who's, got hundreds and hundreds of bodies, which who cares? Like, the body count is not the thing that should matter. But what's interesting is they display it as either being in control of yourself to these religious people either means complete suppression or totally giving over to whatever desires. There is such thing as self-responsibility, as making choices from a place of being informed and what you want and what sounds good and healthy to you. And you can be a responsible person and sleep with as
Right.
many or as few people as you want. But they lay it out as this, like, either or option. Either you follow our rules, or you're going to go crazy like an animal. And that's sad and not true. And we see how that's not true in so many other areas of life.
Yes. No. I get it. You're correct. Because I mean, here in my country, it's marital. What do you call it? Marital monogamy is actually the rule, meaning like it's
Mm-hmm.
a single relationship between people who marry as virgins, and they may remain sexually exclusive their entire lives and become celibate basically until the death of their partner, basically. Um, so you know, it's kind of interesting because that's why I kind of question like the because marriage to me is it's actually like I view it as like a bureaucratic institution, really. Like it's it's not it's less so about love or intimacy. I mean, there's that component, but the fact that we have to like bring a pen and paper and sign and all these things, and that's why it's I think like the thing about, for example, having like being in a normal relationship between, basically having a boyfriend or girlfriend, to me that makes more sense, because I don't have to invite people over to see, you know, what my relationship is like with my girlfriend, or whether we will actually commit, or things like that. Um, so it's kind of interesting, like this dilemma, because um, it's in the U.S., of course, like I'm sure it's kind of interesting. What's so interesting is, and you just promised, you just mentioned it. You said a lot of these men fucking losers, basically calling you all sorts of names. Do you? The more I read about what is happening in these countries, I feel like there might be some kind of a gender war of some sort. I don't know if that's true or not. Do you
Some kind
think
of a
that
what?
a gender war? Like, I don't know if you a
I
gender
mean,
war
that's been
meaning
an
like,
issue for a long time. Patriarchal oppression is still playing out in so many ways, or even if we've maybe progressed in certain ways, the consequences
oh,
of it are still playing out.
it's
And
gotten worse.
so,
That's what I mean. Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's gotten to the point where now we can finally actually talk about it, because for a while women were just kind of having to go along with it. And now we don't have to go along with it in a lot of cases, and we can actually report problems, we can actually issue complaints, we can actually have a voice. And I think that's making it seem like this is a new thing, but it's not new. These
Right.
problems are not new, and honestly, probably most of these things have gotten better, as a lot of things in society do,
Sure.
as history progresses. It's just that we can actually address them now, which is great. That is a good thing. However, it does
Of
mean that
course.
now we can see the ugly side of stuff that's been swept under the rug for so long. And it sounds like that's a lot of what you're learning now too, by opening up your
Can you
mind.
hear me?
And
Yeah.
yeah, it sounds like that's what you're learning a lot of now too, is like things out, what by I don't know how to phrase what you're doing, but by looking at things outside of the culture that you grew up in, and the thought process that you were told to adhere to, you're starting to realize, oh wait, there's all these things that I didn't know about, or didn't think about, or weren't made aware of. And I actually was just looking up some different stats on Egypt, and it looks like sexual harassment is a huge problem there, and
It
like
is
really
indeed.
high rates, which is wild, because as you're saying, the culture is teaching, the math isn't mathing. Basically, if you're telling
Yeah.
people not to have sex and they're claiming they are, and everyone's getting married as virgins, and then they're just staying monogamous their whole relationship, well, apparently not, because we have these wild numbers for
Yeah.
sexual harassment. And so
Absolutely.
that's something to look at. But
It,
did you have any
it's
go ahead.
what's
You go ahead.
do you have? Oh, yeah. That is indeed true. Like, I would say, like, Egypt's kind of like a sexually deprived society. I don't know if that's the right way to put it. Uh, Basically, the fact that we would coerce people into I don't know, like, forcing them to stay celibate until they get married can cause all sorts of problems. And the the again, like, the West, at least some of the advantages that the West has is like, okay, you're basically like you can broaden your horizon, you can live freely, you know uh you know I think that marriage in the West is not, it's mandatory. There are lots of families who wouldn't care if you don't get married. Here it's totally different. Here it has to be marriage, or else you'll just basically remain celibate for the rest of your
Yeah.
life.
Which is
And also,
what the religious culture
all,
here teaches people to do. So while it's not as pervasive, obviously, as it is in Egyptian culture, it's still similar to a problem we face here, which is funny because a lot of people here want to judge Muslims for the very thing that they're, wanting to uphold here in the
right,
US. The hypocrisy is wild.
right, right. It's also, Egypt is in North Africa, and there are certain tribes. It's not the majority because pure research they make it seem like it's the majority, but it's not actually. There are certain tribes in the poorest areas in Egypt that practice, it's horrific to say, but that practice female genital mutilation. Uh, Basically, the reason why they do it is kind of insane, is because if they, I don't know, circumcise the woman, I don't know what they cut off exactly. I don't even want to imagine it. But once they do that, that will probably decrease the like a woman's likelihood to have sex, because that will decrease her sex drive as she gets older. Uh, that
So
is something.
with
And
female genital with female genital mutilation, they are most of the time burning off the clitoris. And sometimes they'll
oh, okay.
remove parts of the vulva, lips as well. And female genital mutilation is a big problem for many areas
It
of
is
the world, and many girls as 9 years old are having their genitals mutilated. And it's a
100 million
horrible,
per
horrible
year, by
thing
the
to
way.
do.
100 million girls per
Yeah,
year. Actually, it's a massive number.
Yeah.
it's really
It's
terrible.
it's awful. It's very dark. I really appreciate that you are expanding your knowledge about all of this, because like we've said before in our calls with you, this is how we start seeing some cultural shifts, is as young people start saying, like, wait a second, this isn't adding up, this doesn't make sense, this doesn't seem right or fair. And
Yes.
I think it's also good for people in the US to get to hear how things play out, because they are very different in so many ways. And yet, I think it's also good for us to be aware of some of the similarities, to take as warnings, where we're like, oh, well, it's the Christian way. Well, it's just as controlling, and that's still what they would like, is to ultimately have power and control over people. Sam, before we move on, because we've got other callers to get to, is there anything else you wanted to add before we let you go?
Not really. I mean, like, there's nothing I can, like, there isn't much I can think of, actually. Like, all I want to say is, like, I, as a progressive person, like, I want I just want us to make people think, and to think critically, and to question, not live in a bubble, and, for example, if there's a specific tradition that might seem, antiquated, for example, or might seem unequal, I think that we have the right to question it in this culture. It's much harder to do that in Egypt than in other countries, but maybe, I don't know, we should do our part, I guess. I don't know.
I love that. Yes, I think questioning is the first step that that we all should take when it comes to all of this. Thank you so much, Sam, for calling and chatting with us on this, and
Thank you
you're
very
welcome
much.
to call back. Have a great day.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Sam.
Yes, I love
So
the
interesting.
questioning and all of that. That is amazing.
Yeah. And also, I learned about female genital mutilation when I was doing my my education, but I had literally really never heard of that before that, and I still I don't feel like that's something we talked about because it's not common in westernized worlds. But the World Health Organization reported more than 230 million girls and women alive today have undergone FGM in 30 countries in Africa, Middle East, and Asia where it is practiced, which is horrifying.
Yeah, that's
It's horrifying.
truly disturbing and awful. But what's also funny to me is that I remember growing up hearing some of this and hearing, I think there's that's where the prejudice and racism and stuff comes up, where the Christians around me were like, isn't that so disturbing? We would never do that. And it's you wouldn't literally maybe do that, and yet you are also wanting the same amount of control. You're trying to find it via other methods, and it's you guys have some very, very similar values here, and that's what should be looked at. We don't really have announcements because it's about to be May, and we don't have our schedule all the way up yet. But I will remind you guys what the shows are. Tomorrow we have The Hang Up with Matt Dillahunty, and Erica Gibbon is going to be on, which will be amazing. Thursday we have TACIS. Sunday we have the Sunday show, and then we have the Sunday show AD. Monday is Skeptalk. And then Tuesday, which will be my last Tuesday for a while. Literally, I will be leaving the next day for Finland. So that will be my little goodbye for now. I'll still be on the line here and there. I just won't be able to commit to 2 a.m. episodes of Chewed Gum every week I was trying to do last time.
Yeah, that was shocking.
It was.
That was shocking for you to do last year.
And I wasn't
so I'm glad that you are. Yeah.
Truly wild.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're taking time for yourself and not doing that this time.
Thank you. Thanks. But I will miss you all. Shall we talk to Daniel, who has a question, or who wants to call regarding the question of purity? Okay.
Yes.
Hello, Daniel. You are on with Promise and Alyssa. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Hi, Daniel. What can we help you with today?
So my question is, what is the purpose of dismantling the idea of purity? Of tearing it down?
I guess I'd have
purity
to know
culture.
Alyssa, you go ahead.
Okay. Purity culture. Well, actually, I guess I'm gonna go with how Promise was gonna phrase this in a question first. What part of purity culture are you referring to?
The idea that
when you. Sorry, go ahead. The lag is especially bad today.
Okay, so first of all, I understand that there is an inequality there regarding men versus women. So I guess we could address that. But
so Daniel, I'll to get the call going, I'll just let you know that to me, purity culture is something that's prevalent. Primarily, it's across the world and across religions. But when I'm talking about it, usually it's about this evangelical purity culture, which is an attempt to sexually control people. And I believe that consenting grown adults should be able to make choices about their own bodies and about their sexuality and about their sexual activity, and that should be a decision they make themselves, not something that's outsourced to a religious belief or dogma. And so the reason that it's important to talk about purity culture and to, quote, dismantle it is because I believe it ultimately harms people, or can harm people in almost all cases. It controls people, and it's manipulative, and it causes a lot of shame, and it also causes a lot of trauma. So the reason that I speak out against it is because ultimately I think it is harmful and unnecessary.
Okay, so I mostly agree with that. Then why do you think that is? And why do you think specifically that it targets women more than men?
I don't know that I actually would say or have said that I think it targets women more than men. It probably does, but I also watched it ruin the lives of my friends that are men. So I think that it impacts everyone. That's why it's a problem. I think it impacts people in very different ways. And I think a lot of times it primarily makes women responsible more than men. Women are basically taught that their bodies are not their own and are supposed to be their husbands. And men are taught that they're just little, like, uncontrollable monsters who are so weak that if they even see a woman naked, that they're going to just turn into this terrible predator. And so they have to, like, look away all the time. Like, they're not taught how to take accountability and responsibility for themselves. Instead, it's often, oh, well, the woman was dressed that way or she was behaving this way. So it also depends on which type of purity culture you grow up in. So I don't think that I could say, oh, it always impacts women more. I think in general, it's harmful for humans. I think it's bad for kids. I think it's bad for women, men, and it's definitely bad for queer people. So if you want to know specifics on why, like, that's a long conversation. There's so many parts that are harmful. Alyssa, probably being the expert here, can tell you exactly how it harms people. I can just tell you from personal experience, being taught that your body is, something that can cause people to sin if you don't do something just right. That's a really crazy thing to put on a 12-year-old. When you're taught that if you even have a crush on somebody or have sexual thoughts about somebody before you're married, it's the same as cheating on your future spouse. Like, that's wild. There's so many things like that. When you teach children that they're responsible for the thoughts of grown adults, that is participating in grooming. That is basically telling kids that it's their fault if something happens to them that a grown adult does. And that's wrong. Alyssa, what do you think are some of the more harmful aspects of purity culture?
Well, the whole ideology makes it sound like, oh my God, there's a spider crawling on my wall. Sorry, I'll address that later. I just saw something move again and it scared me. The whole ideology behind purity culture is creating this thought process that sexuality is not your own experience to have. And there are very few moments in my career where I've heard anyone explain something that was a sexual interest of theirs, barring things that are not consensual, where I felt like what they were doing was not okay. As long as something is consensual and it's safe for all parties involved, all sexual activity is morally neutral. And when you're adding this moral element to something that is very much a part of humanity, it's very much how we connect to one another on an intimate and a romantic level. You also, then there are parts of purity culture that even extend beyond sex. Like, there are some people who, as part of their purity culture, won't really allow hugging, front hugging, and they have to hug on the side. And it's sort of like, where does that end? You've now taught this person that their own body is not a safe space to be, and that they can't trust their own bodies. And that ladders into other behaviors that are harmful. I mean, we all deserve to feel safe and in control of our bodies and our choices. And by telling a person that by not making the right choices with their sexuality, they're going to not get into heaven, or they're going to be bad people as a result, you're creating like a really dangerous conversation in their head. So, purity culture is really damaging even just beyond the sexual part of it. And it just creates a lot of distrust in our own ability to make choices for our bodies. and what, why, for what, to what end? And also, we have evidence to show that what helps people have fewer partners in the course of their life and have healthier, better sex lives is by giving them comprehensive education when they're young, which is another thing that purity culture really disagrees with. They don't want us to have sex education. They think that it's inappropriate. And in reality, it leads to fewer teenage pregnancies, fewer STIs, fewer partners over extended periods of time, and healthier relationships. So there's a lot there.
Daniel, you there?
Oh yeah, I wasn't sure if I was muted or if I was supposed to. Sorry.
No, you're here.
No, I agree. And
You're here.
No.
I actually agreed that. So that was my question and you expanded on it really well, because there's also the purity culture of, say, masturbation, and that falls with men or women or as like gay people, etc. And so, I mean, you've answered all the questions I had. I don't really have anything else to add. But thank you for talking.
Amazing. Thanks so much for calling, Daniel.
Thanks, Daniel.
You guys have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.
Well, that was easier than I thought it was going to be.
I know. The spider is like now
I
up
love
there. And the crazy
spiders.
thing is, me too. Like, I'm not going to kill it. I'll let it live its life. Or, I mean, it's too small. I don't think I could get it outside. And apparently they die when you do that anyway. I just don't really want to be directly under it.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you on that one at all.
Oh my God. In the chat, they were talking about, remember your fly from last summer, Tinkerbell?
Tinkerbell. Okay, but am I crazy or did we call her Tinklebell?
Oh,
I'm
maybe
crazy.
it was Tinklebell.
I don't know. It's really weird of me if we didn't, and I'm thinking that, but
That's
whatever.
Oh my God, that's funny.
I will say hi to Tink for everybody. It's already been decided. I get there, I see a fly. That's obviously her. Let's not talk about the lifespan of flies because it's her. She's been waiting. Let's not talk about the fact that it was like negative 1,000,000 degrees all winter while I was gone. It doesn't matter. She's there. She had a little nap.
Doesn't matter.
She's going to be so stoked that I'm back.
Exactly.
We have one last call to get to real quick before we get to our super chats of $5 or more. Shall we talk to one of our favorites, Joe?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Joe. How are you?
Good. How
Hi,
are
Joe.
you two doing? How's the PMS going?
We're good.
It's going.
Oh my God, hanging in. The brain fog is crazy. I feel like I have 3 brain cells to rub together right now.
I feel like I've been dissociating throughout most of this episode, but here we are. It's still going.
We're hanging in. We're hanging
Yes. And we're
Joe,
happy to
how
be
are
talking,
you today?
talking
How's
to
it
you.
going? Yeah,
I'm going pretty good.
always.
Not dissociating, which is good. So
You're in charge now,
my
then.
topic- yeah,
Yeah.
I'll take control of the wheel. Move over, Jesus. I'm here.
Perfect.
So my question, as we've been noticing, especially for marginalized people, like systems such as like hospitals, government, and police have that. Police, not necessarily so much, but generally speaking, are supposed to be helping us, have been failing to do so. Should we? I attended a workshop, and it actually, rather than dealing with these things in system, we can actually have an in-community approach to that. And I was curious what you two thought about moving from in-system approaches to help to in-community approaches.
Yeah, I mean,
I love that idea.
I love that idea for so many things. I still think that there are countries that have figured out how to have systems that help people, and some are better at different systems than others. And my only concern about if we put all focus on community approach, I do think that we should, I think in general, that's great. My only concern with putting all efforts into that and giving up on any other thing is that I still am worried that there will be people that fall through the cracks. There will still be people that don't have that community showing up, and they should still have access to the things that they need, and that should still be granted to them. I agree
really
that
we can think about.
Yeah, but I still think we should move toward that, because there's already people falling through the cracks that are not getting that. And so it would be amazing if community can step in and kind of fill that role. There's just so many people that are so against that I don't know that there will be enough to meet those needs in every community, if that makes sense. But where and when we can, just personally, part of my values is to absolutely do that and be there for our neighbors when we can. And I've done that for neighbors and they've done that for me. It's not like we talk and hang out all the time, but there's been little things here and there where we've needed something, or, and shown up for each other and friends and family and stuff. And I do think that we should put in more effort to making that an organized, intentional movement, and not just oh, good, that nice person happened to go make a meal for the family down the street that had a baby. I would like to see us being way more intentional. There's things, I don't know if you have it in Australia, but we have the Nextdoor app. In the neighborhood that I used to live in Atlanta, one of the things I miss about it is that they were so good at stuff like that, and kind of creating community and being there for each other and showing up for different families that had different needs and all of that. But Alyssa, what are your thoughts, especially on the side of healthcare and things like that? What do you think? And education?
And it's so hard, because my first instinct was that would be so great if we could find a way to make communities of people who are well trained in what they do and are wanting to what I was imagining was the way that midwives used to function and that kind of thing. I think for emergency services and stuff, I don't think that it would be safe or smart to bring those into smaller communities. But for things where if there was a doctor who was willing to do well visits outside of the insurance system and charge people $50 for a 30-minute visit and whatever, could you imagine how great that would be? It would just to have communities create systems of low cost care for each other, or creating bartering systems, where you're doing services for each other, just to have less of a reliance on the system that's really taking advantage of us would be, it's really appealing. But I don't know, I also feel at least in the US, we have created such a capitalist culture that I think it also bleeds into the communities beyond the infrastructure itself. I don't know how long we could trust that if we decided to bring well visits to are allowed outside of a doctor's office, how quickly is someone going to find a way to monetize on that and make it illegitimate and ruin the whole experience for everyone else? I don't know. That would be the thing that I would worry about the most. But I think stuff like childcare, cooking for each other, stuff like that. That would be so great to be able to just lean. And that's something we all can just do. We can create that very, on our own. We can create that in our own communities. And I think so beautiful and so nice.
Yeah, a lot of preventative care, I feel. Because we know the power of community and with mental health and with actual health, things like that. I think that's where it could be best implemented. And as we see, with people that are leaving religion or deconstructing or whatever, as the first caller, even just having community to show up, people to spend time with and know that it's going to be intentional and know that it's going to be a safe space and all of that. I think all of that is really important and something we should always be moving towards, even in places where we have excellent systems that are providing, hospitals, government, police, and all of that for us. I still think that building a sense of strong community is deeply important. And if anything, I would want the people participating in those systems, like when you have government officials or hospital workers, I want them to know the community they're working with as well. I'd like them to come from the community and be part of that tight-knit community.
Yeah. Both of you have brought up some very excellent points that I hadn't considered. What probably happened is, as I got out of that workshop that was talking about in community approach specifically to suicide prevention, I probably had a very sparkly eye, idolized thing of, we can get away with throwing all the systems out and have it all in community. And having this discussion with the two of you has kind of grounded me a little bit, that why get rid of a system that does help some people? It may not be effective for all people. Why get rid of that to replace it with something else when we can have both at the same time?
Yeah.
And they both have their strengths and weaknesses.
Joe, I absolutely love how involved you are in your community there and how you are actively working towards suicide prevention in your community. I just think that is so inspiring. I know it inspires me. I hope it inspires anybody else hearing whenever you call in, because I think that is a beautiful reason to get involved in community and to show up and to care about what's happening. Because even also showing up for community can mean showing up for the systems that are already in place, like you said, like whether that's getting involved in local politics and the people that are making policies that will impact people's mental health. I think there's so many different ways to have both, to have solid community and solid systems that are working for the people. And I just love the example of that you are. It really does inspire me every time you call.
All right. Thank you. I just quickly, I will, because the workshop that I attended is like a global training workshop. It's called the
Yes,
ASSIST.
please share.
It's called ASSIST, ASIST, and it stands for Applied Suicide Intervention Skills Training. And the idea behind it is, rather than people getting to the point where they're engaging in suicidal behavior, looking out for the warning signs and kind of engaging in prevention and helping people develop safety plans and that sort of thing. I found the course very useful. I think it did start in America. The particular
I just
program.
pulled up the website and it's already letting me look up different training times. So this is amazing.
Yeah, I highly recommend it, especially because when it comes to suicide intervention in the medical system, especially for vulnerable people, it can often cause a lot of trauma. And police sometimes get involved, and there's whole trauma about police around marginalized communities.
Yeah.
So having this sort of training, it's not if obviously people are in danger, do call on the emergency services. This is more for this person is showing some early warning signs of they're struggling at the moment. How can we intervene on that? And I just think it's really good, especially for marginalized communities, to not have to rely on the hospital system for suicide prevention.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for that resource. And I hope other people look into that, but I was able to pull up and I have this here now where I can look up different training times in my area. So Amazing.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Joe. We
All right.
always love talking to you. Love this
Thank you,
topic.
Joe.
Love ya. Take care.
Love you.
Love you, Joe. Bye.
What a nice little,
Yay.
what a pleasant
I know. This was a
evening.
very nice, relaxed show.
So relaxed. Shall we get to super chats? And I'm going to make you read the first couple by yourself because I have to pee and I'll go super fast. Morgan, if you don't mind
Yeah,
taking
go ahead.
me off screen, I'll be right back. Maybe.
All right. Okay.
Off screen.
$5 from Space Barbarian. Regarding purity culture and the gross personal comments, judgmental people don't seem to realize that judgmentalism itself can be a character flaw. Very true. And I always think it's interesting because in the Bible, isn't that a whole thing that like judgment is wrong and a sin and you shouldn't be doing it? And then they just created like one of the most judgmental cultures ever. So we love that. Thank you, Space Barbarian. Love your little I Heart Reality. That's really funny. $13.99 Canadian from Chrysolaxar. Oh wow, okay. I don't know if I can read that, but thank you. Hello, you both are so awesome. I learned so much from you guys. I'm going on a blind date after not seeing anyone for 10 years. I'm 57, she's 48. Any advice would be awesome. Oh, this is so exciting. Okay. Just be yourself. Don't play it cool. Just be hi. We're giving advice for someone who's going on a blind date after not seeing anyone for 10 years.
I've been listening this whole time and I was like, yes, I made it back just in time for the juicy gossip.
Yeah. Okay. Don't worry about playing it cool. Be yourself and know that sometimes dates are kind of like job interviews, but you're interviewing each other. Like you want to know if this is a good fit for you just as much as they want to know if you're a good fit for them. So that always helped me feel less nervous about it because you're not really the one it's not like you're in the hot seat. You guys are both sort of like on the same playing field of hot seat, you know? So don't feel like you need to be, performing in any major way. You guys are just getting to know each other. And worst scenario, you go on you go to dinner or whatever it is, you go have this date and you get to know a new person and maybe they're not a good fit for you, but it's a great experience. Or really worst case scenario, it's a funny story to tell your friends. Keep slow. And just be yourself.
Yes,
Promise?
I agree.
Any advice?
I mean, I feel like remember that the stakes are actually way lower than they feel. And because of that, ask all the things that you want to ask, but then like hold it all loosely, put it out, like put out there what you want to, don't put out there what you don't want to. I don't know. I think what Alyssa said was great. Also, don't worry about playing it cool, like Alyssa said. Like if you have specific things that you already know you really need or want in a partner, it's okay to go ahead and have those conversations. And like, I don't know, the way I was on my first date with my husband, and I was basically like interrogating. I was like, okay, what do you do when you're angry? What do you like? I had reached the point where I didn't want to deal with bullshit, and I just wanted to, I wanted to know, like, is this something that's going to be serious or is this something that's just going to be fun? Like, what kind of situation is this? And I asked all the questions, and I'm really glad that I did, because the worst thing that would have happened is I would have been like, okay, cool, we had like a fun coffee outing. The best thing that happened was that I was able to be like, oh, wait, actually, there's already so much common ground and shared values here that I can continue enjoying whatever this is going to be. So anyways, mostly have fun, and that's so exciting. And tell us all about it, please. $10 from Squidward Q Sagan. Nothing. Thanks. I'll read the next one too, since I need to.
Thank you for the support.
About me. What is on my screen? $4.99 from Darth Willow. I got banned for answering a question about which of the Fantastic Four has the best superpower. I said Sue because she can have multiple orgs. You got banned from where? From here?
Not here.
I hope not from here because
Oh,
that's
okay.
really funny. Okay.
I was about to say,
I was gonna say, then how
but
did you get?
that's wild
But
and hilarious.
that's really funny. I just got cold.
Aw.
Okay, $5 from Aaliyah Shauna Silverbow. Where do pirates get their hooks from? Secondhand stores.
That's amazing.
Hashtag I need a laugh today. Hashtag everyone needs a laugh sometimes. I needed that one. That was great. I like that one. Thank you.
£5 from Ian Aspie. What do a burned pizza, a frozen beer, and a pregnant lady have in common? An idiot who didn't take it out on time. Much love to Promise and Alyssa. Thanks, Ian.
I love it. That's great. That's awesome. Thanks, Ian. $10 from Aaliyah Shauna Silverbow. In America, using the metric system can get you in legal trouble. In fact, if you sneer at any other method of liquids, you may be held in contempt of court.
Wow.
Hashtag imperial units. Hashtag metric is better. That's really funny.
Amazing.
Oh, sorry, there's no way for me to.
$5 from Alyssa when your mom's so big that not even Carmen Sandiego can kidnap her. Hashtag where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Hashtag 40th anniversary. Hashtag where can she be? I loved Carmen Sandiego
Me
so
too.
much. So much.
Me too. It was the best game. Oh my god, I wonder if I could download it. Probably not, but wow, I would love to play that
was
one
great.
more time.
I just want the red coat.
Oh my god, me too. That would be a great Halloween costume, but it would have to be in like a group that you know for sure is around your age, because otherwise it would be no one
Okay,
would
that's
know.
an amazing idea, and maybe that's going to be.
I'm gonna write
guys
that
heard it here
down. I have a
first.
list of Halloween ideas. Wait, okay, Carmen, that's such a good one. Because every year, right around Halloween, I forget. So I have an ongoing note.
That's
$10
brilliant.
from Bobby Keniston. Didn't call. I know. You know, when you're a Halloween girly like myself, gotta be on it. Didn't call soon enough. Okay, I take care of my dad who has dementia. Just found out through DNA tests that I have a genetic marker. I'm so sorry. It's my hormones. It's not you. A genetic marker for this type of dementia. Doesn't mean I'll get it, but could. Scary. And this is one. There's another one, I think.
Coming up now.
Okay. I haven't been with anyone in 3 years. When I do date again, how long into the relationship before I mention I could be predisposed to dementia and may have to be taken care of one day? It scares me. I think I would wait until the relationship seems like it might be one that is going to be long term. Like, I think that's one of those things where in the beginning parts of the what's it called? In the beginning parts of the getting to know each other phase, I don't think it's totally necessary. But if you're getting to like 3-4 dates in, it'd be a good thing to just. We're messes, right?
Sorry, Bobby.
Oh my God,
it's not you.
Yawning. No, it's that time. It's that time of the month and the time of the day. But yeah, I would wait like 3-4 dates in. That's what I would say.
I'm so sorry. Also, that's probably got to be a very scary thing to even know that there's a chance of. Also, really cool that you were able to get that testing because a lot of people don't, and then it's a surprise to them.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to say the opposite of Alyssa, not because I don't think she's right. You probably should just do what she says. I had some things that I didn't like. My sisters were telling me, do not share that on your first date. And I shared it 30 seconds into the first date. And it ended up being something that we actually bonded over and talked about a lot. And because to me, it did feel like relevant, especially at the time, and like something I could have totally waited. But so just putting out there, if it is something that, especially right now, is currently on your mind a lot, I think you could even casually be like, yeah, it's actually interesting. I've been going through this with my dad, which I did find out that I have, I don't remember how you phrased it, but whatever it is, you know, so that's caused me to think about these things in life. I think that could also be fine.
Yeah.
You know, everyone is at risk of something like that. You just happen to find out like what you're closer to your likelihood, I guess is how you'd word it. I don't know. It's not even after 8. I have no excuse for my behavior right now. But anyways, hopefully you get what I'm saying. There's 2 different thoughts for you. Alyssa and myself probably should listen to Alyssa, but that's how I've handled stuff. Because for me, sometimes I don't feel like I can be myself if there's something that I'm intentionally not sharing that's like on the forefront of my mind.
And you never know, things like that, when it's the right person, things like that can be like what you end up really connecting over. Like there have been times where I will hold something back because I don't think that like the person that I'm like, for instance, not so much now, but maybe earlier in my dating life, sharing that I am atheist and I don't participate in religion. It's not my thing. Like that might be something that I might have waited to disclose because I didn't want to like scare anyone away. But in reality, for whoever it is that's right for me, that is something to actually connect over, like Promise said. And like with my boyfriend now, he also is atheist, and a huge relief to have that conversation. Oh my God, this is another comment and another thing that we're aligned on. And so I think whenever you feel comfortable, but I would say a minimum, I think at least by the 3rd, 4th date, you should let them know, just, so that they're aware.
$5 from SJL. Have you heard of Steven Seagulls, a Finnish bluegrass band that covers rock and heavy metal? Thunderstruck on banjo and accordion is amazing. I have not. Maybe my husband has, but I'm going to look him up now. Hilarious. He probably knows people in the band because anytime I've ever asked him about Finnish musicians, he's like, oh yeah, I toured with that guy, or I know that guy. So I'll find out. Thank you, SJL.
£5 from Mystic Minds Analysis Tavern. I love drawing nude art depicting cute/peaceful scenes to oppose purity culture's views that the body is only shown fun time. I love that. Wait, DFTBA. Why do I feel like I don't know what that is? Don't. Morgan, do you know this one?
No idea.
We can make up our own.
Don't forget to.
Don't
forget to be adorable. I knew it. Exactly.
Thanks,
That
Mr.
was
Mine. That's
really
super
adorable.
cool that you draw nudes just for the sake of the human body. I love that. $5 from Sarah Talks Podcast. I was going to call and say you both are the best bandicoots along with my topic, but have a super chat instead.
I love it.
Podcast crash out that we all had. That was amazing.
Yeah. I love that was like such an intense conversation. It was so
intense for nothing.
DFTBA is don't forget to be awesome.
Oh, we were so close.
I love it.
We were so close.
Really close. Really, really close. $5 from Aaliyah Shauna Silverbow from Monkey. Promise needs to end episodes
real quick,
from
Alyssa,
Europe.
You weren't here last week, but Monkey is between jobs now, which is a bummer. But we're hoping that they get a new one very soon. So people are sponsoring Monkey's super chats until then. So that's what this is.
Oh,
which I really love because we have the best people ever here.
I love this community. I love this community so much.
Now we're going to start crying.
That's so nice. And Monkey, I'm so sorry. That's such a pain in the ass, especially in this market. But you'll find something. I have faith in you, and it always works out the way it's meant to. So it'll all be okay. But this is awesome from Monkey. Promise needs to end episodes from Europe with humor because it's always good to have a joke at the finish. Nice. We'll send more support when employed. That's really sweet.
You should hear the literal dad jokes that my dad makes about my Finnish husband. After our first date, I got home. My dad was like, "So are you finished with him already?" I was like, "Okay, this is gonna get old fast." $4.99
I love it.
from
I love
Jessica
it.
Jones. Jessica is my bestest friend since I was like 12 years old, and I'm taking this moment
Aw.
because this is how insane my life has been. Amongst a bunch of other important things, but none of as important as this, I forgot for the first time in our friendship my very best friend's birthday and did not wish her happy birthday till the next morning when I realized what day it was and was like literally crying upset. So right now, happy birthday, Jessica. I love you. Everybody in the chat, please wish Jessica a happy belated birthday. $4.99 from Jessica
Happy
Jones.
Jessica. Happy birthday,
Happy
Jessica.
Happy Jessica.
We're holding it together. We're holding it together, Jessica. Happy Jessica to everyone.
Agree it's bad for all humans, but I do think our version of purity culture is worse on girls as there is no dress code for the boys to prevent. And then there's another one. Girls from stumbling. And the boys didn't have to have excruciatingly awkward convos with their dad and made to wear a promise ring. Also, I love you, P. Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. I think my only thing is that then there's like some stuff where boys were made to feel crazy about stuff, but you're right. It's probably very similar stuff that we were made to feel crazy about too. The dress code thing is massive. I remember that feeling so weird, like being 12 years old, hadn't even gone through puberty, being told that I need to wear an extra large t-shirt over my tankini because my mom's friend's husband might feel awkward around me. That's creepy.
That's
super weird.
Disgusting. Mom's friend's husband.
Truly.
How old were you?
12 or younger, honestly. Yeah.
Wow.
And that was my mom. I'll clarify. That was not my mom doing that. Her friend called and was like, "Can you please have promise wear?" Like, you guys, I was like, I mean, I'm still like a little popsicle stick. I was like a little toothpick. Like, this is not very like pedo behavior. Anyways.
That's really gross. $5 from June Urick. Flies are prolific. If it isn't Tink you see, that's definitely a grandchild. Love it.
Oh, yes. That's cool. I'm still going to tell myself that it's Tink because I can't face. Guys, let's be totally real though. It probably wasn't Tink every time that we said it was
every
already.
Time. Yeah.
$5 from Aaliyah Shauna Silverbow. I asked my date to meet me at the gym, but they never showed up. I guess the two of us aren't going to work out. That's good.
That's good. $9.99 from Hannah Hodgkins. I love watching Chewed Gum. You two have helped me tremendously with getting over purity culture trauma. Sending so much love to you two. Thank you. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that you found us and so happy you're here.
$10 from Tolome Mazariegos. I'm so sorry. Is there any scientific truth at all to the claim that having sex decreases your ability to bond with other people sexually in the future? I tried to research this before, but got conflicting results. This is an Alyssa question.
I don't think that there is any claim that it would decrease your ability to bond with other people. I think it would be more to the contrary, because I think once you understand what works for you sexually, what makes you feel comfortable, what makes you good, then you're able to have better and better sexual experiences every time you have them. I think that's tough with looking for information about this is we are so heavily influenced by purity culture that when you're doing something, at least in the US, when you're doing something like a study where you're looking at how much sex someone is having and then how bonded they feel to a person in the future, much of that, of how they feel, is also heavily informed by the judgment that comes along with purity culture. So it's tough because I want to be able to point to a specific study and be like, this is the answer, but I don't even know that it would be responsible to do that because sexuality is so heavily influenced by all of these other pieces. So I don't know.
Yeah. And also
But
it very well
there
could be that it makes you like raise your standards, and therefore
yeah,
maybe it's less likely that somebody's going to meet those standards, but it would be silly to be like, well, you shouldn't try better food because then you might be disappointed when you eat bad food after that, you know?
right. Yeah.
$10 from Janae. Oh, sorry. No, I think this is you. I don't know.
I'll do it. $10 from Janae Blinkow. Your show has helped me shed shame around my body and sexuality caused by purity culture. Your honesty and joy have brought healing, clarity, and a sense of freedom I didn't know was possible. Thank you.
Aww.
Janae, you made my day. I have chills.
So
That's really nice. Thank you so much.
$10 from Brent J. Towards Promises Tinklebell tattoo. Guys, should I get a Tinklebell tattoo?
A little fly? That would be so cute.
Just a little fly, a little countryside fly. Maybe she should have like a little sparkle next to her. You wouldn't. You would?
I absolutely would. A little fly?
What if we got a little Tinklebell fly that says like #death by it or something?
That would be really cute. I wonder if we could have like in the lines of it, like have death like sort of hidden in there.
I like that better. Yep.
Should that also be merch?
Yep. Let's do it. And then anybody else who wants to get the tattoo can get it, and we can all just be matching, and it'll be like the greatest thing ever. Okay.
I love
We've been very productive in the last 30 seconds.
Yes.
$20 for. Oh wait, is this you again? And I'm just losing my mind. Morgan says,
I think this one is
the buzz is about.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cute. That's really cute for merch. Like a little fly that's in it and it says find out what the buzz is about. Oh.
This is adorable.
Wow. This is
chewed
really
gum.
Also,
flies.
neither one of us need another project like making merch, but like someone get Jimmy on the phone. Me and you have Jimmy's phone number. We should get Jimmy on the phone and we should
say this every week and
or Arden.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do tell him, but he also doesn't have like an abundance of time. So, whatever. We'll figure it out. But I love this. I love that plan.
On that note, Jimmy is working really hard to get everything ready for our fundraiser for recovering from religion. I don't know if we've announced that yet. I feel like we have. But it's going to be amazing. So please be saving up, preparing yourself to help us with that fundraiser, because we do that once a year for recovering from religion. You already heard me talk about them on the show today. They're an incredible resource, and I'm very grateful for them, and I know so many of you are too. So just keep that in mind. $20 from Mr. Boricua 10. Absolutely well-relaxed show this eve. I thoroughly enjoyed every moment of it. It made my evening much more enjoyable. Song for such a time, or any. Super 8 and Tab. Perfect day featuring Alina. Alina. Does great with a green buzz. Thank you so much. Thanks for hanging out with us.
$10 from Daniel Livesay. I hope I'm saying your name right. Thoughts on being a friend to someone who committed rape in the past? Pondering trying to be a support for a person that wants to be better, but is that just a slap in the face to victims? Please help. I think that, there are people who make mistakes, and that doesn't mean that they're going to repeat them. But what will definitely not help is alienating people. I think that providing, if this is a person that you like outside of this, I think that there is a world where this person having friends and having support will help keep them accountable, because they've formed community, and it will help them hopefully, feel encouraged to make better choices, but also don't feel obligated to be friends with a person that makes you uncomfortable. So I don't know. There are people who commit crimes and end up being able to have a life outside of that and recover and understand their behavior and never do them ever again. And I think having community helps people do that. But I don't know, Promise, what are your thoughts?
I mean, that's so tough because on the one hand, I firmly believe in rehabilitating people that are able to be rehabilitated. But that would be something I don't think I could do, depending on the exact circumstances and story, I think. However, if you are in a privileged enough position where that's not triggering to you, where you feel safe and all of that, and you think that, and you have insight onto this person and how they're changing and the things that they've done in their life to ensure that that's not something they're going to do again, and you feel like you have insight as to like why it all the different things, yeah, I think I would put a lot of effort into finding resources. There's got to be people out there that have resources on this, and I would put a lot of effort into getting those. Specifically, like, how to interact with people that have committed crimes like that before. That's what I would do if I were you. And just, I would tread carefully. Is this me? Yes. $5 from Melatonin LA. Just letting y'all know I'm taking you with me on my walk with my pups. So thanks for keeping me company. Oh, that's sweet. I love that. Where you can just like walk around. Hello to the pups.
It's really cute. Hi, babies. $5 from Jamnik06. What's between a fly and a bird? A bird can fly, but a fly can't bird. Hashtag bug joke. Hashtag return of Tinkerbell.
Return of Tinkerbell. That sounds so intense. I love it.
It's really funny.
From Cursed Chaos. Related to Joe's call, look up prefigurative politics. It may be a viable alternative to the tradition of electoral politics. Fascinating. Ooh. Thanks, Chaos.
Okay. $5 from Janae Blinkow. I also struggle with body dysmorphia and would love any tips you can give me on training my stop hating my body. My insurance doesn't cover therapy. I'm sorry that you're dealing with that. That is so hard. And in many ways, it's an ongoing, like daily thing to work through. I think that there's an exercise I do with some of my coaching clients where I am with as much clothes as they feel, as little clothes as they feel comfortable wearing, which might be fully clothed for you. Every day in the morning, look yourself in the mirror and say out loud one thing that you love about your body. And every day, try and wear less clothing, when you do that. And that can help just create a better pattern in your brain. So that every looking at yourself, you're not looking at a thing that you don't like. You are forcing yourself to focus on the things that you do. So I would give that a try and do that every day and see how it goes. Like set an alarm on your phone for whatever time you're up in the morning or whatever time you usually get ready and you would be getting dressed for the day. And give it a try and do that every day for like 2 weeks and see what happens. I think you'll feel a little more positively. But body dysmorphia is a big, can feel very big. And so this might be a small thing, but it might just make the day a little easier.
Love that. $4.99 from
$4.99 from.
Oh,
hear you.
I don't know what I'm doing.
I genuinely don't know.
$4.99 from Decadent Ashes, a longtime listener, back to US from 17 years in Japan. Found love via chewed gum. Wild part, turns out we knew each other as kids. Also, I think you know him. Could this be
Monkey at typewriter?
Shut up!
Are we not really matchmakers, but we can still try to credit ourselves for it? Because that's wild. That's so wild.
I'm
that
so
you guys
happy.
knew each other as kids. That's super wild.
That is so cool. I'm so happy. And I love that you said that you found love, because I hope that means that you're in love and like that's what's happening. I am so excited. This is our first chewed gum wedding. Oh, I'm thrilled.
Yes,
so
we will
excited.
be your flower girls. Okay, $10 from Julie Dupe. I hear a clever way to frame the complex idea every time I watch this show. As long as something is consensual and safe for all parties involved, all sexual activity is morally neutral. Yes, that is. I don't know. I was like going to clap or snap, and I chickened out, and then I saw my hands up. Anyways, yes. Alyssa's always saying stuff. I'm like, well, I'm gonna remember that from now on. And then she says stuff where I just find myself talking like her in real life, where I say, "I do fear," or what's some of the other ones? I'm turning into you over here.
I literally, I love and admire you so much that it's crazy that you do literally anything like me. That's so crazy. That's crazy.
Stop.
$9.99 from Darth Willow. Most men seem to think monogamy is a type of hardwood.
That's really
That's
funny.
really
It can be.
funny.
It can be.
Yeah. That's really funny.
$19.99 from Homespun Covers. What do you do when you are not attracted to your wife anymore after 26 years, but are attracted to other women? I don't know how to juggle the opposing ideals. This may sound selfish, but it's a real personal struggle. I'm gonna let the expert answer.
This is this is super, super not uncommon. I've heard this many, many times, and I think there's a lot of reasons why people are not attracted to each other after 26 years. It's a long time with the same person. And it's also, you've gotten to know this person on such a deep level that it's hard to find desire sometimes when you know the ins and outs of this person's schedule and, you know, what their entire day looks like and what they, you know, are going to have for dinner. It's like, there's not a lot of, sometimes desire needs space is the point. So there's a couple of things you can do. I would recommend, finding ways to create space in your relationship. That can sometimes be really helpful. So if you are a person who sees your wife most hours of the day, most days of the week, maybe this is a good opportunity for you to take up a hobby, and basically manufacture missing each other. Be really, really powerful. Another helpful tool is to consider the context of really wonderful sex that you've had or periods of time where you were really attracted to each other, and try your best to recreate that context to the best of your ability. And sexual desire is best in a space where there's very minimal stress, where you have the safety to explore and be curious, and and so that could be a way to look at that too. Context of the last time that you had really great sex. Were you on vacation? Was your job in a different, better place? Was it like, you know, what perfume was she wearing? Like, did she, you know, were you wearing an especially nice outfit that made you feel good? Look at the context of the situation and say, all of these things added up to a really great sexual experience. What little piece of that can I bring into my day-to-day life? There's also a part of it that could be like foreplay all day, like working on bringing foreplay into the forefront of your relationship, like looking into, look up the Gottman Institute. They have a lot about foreplay that I think is really helpful, like the 6-second kiss and foreplay all day, like those types of things can be really helpful. I mean, the long and short of it is there's a lot that you can try. It's hard for me to give a recommendation with such little information, and there would need to be just like a lot more going back and forth. But you are far from the first person I've heard this from, and it's relatively, sorry, my dog is body slamming me because she wants to come up into my lap. It's relatively common that, you know, desire ebbs and flows. But there's things that you can do to rebuild that with your wife before, you know, entertaining anything with any other woman.
Lovely. This is why you're the expert. $5 from Jamnick06. Correction, Tinklebell the fly. But since I mentioned Tinkerbell, what do you call her bum? A fairy tale. What about her nips? Fairiolas. Wow. Thanks, Jamnick. Oh,
Fairiolas. I brought Bonnie because we haven't seen Bonnie in real life in a while on the show.
Hi, Bonnie.
Yeah. $5 from Ray Russell. My neighbor told me their dog could retrieve a ball even though it was thrown a mile away, but I think that sounds a little far-fetched. What do you think? Could you get a ball a mile away?
Perfect timing for Bonnie to join us. Thanks, Ray.
She growled at me in response, so I guess not.
$5 from One-Eyed Heathen. If someone is going to reject you for a disability or for the prospect of disability, they're likely not worth your time or your emotional attachment. Yeah, especially if that's something, that you're looking at dealing with. But also, that's the other thing is, I think that's great point, because that's an important conversation to have with somebody. If you are looking for a long-term relationship with someone, you need to know how they feel about things like dementia or other health issues, because as we age, those things happen. And so I do think that's an important conversation that everyone should have that's looking to be with somebody long-term, because you need to know how are they going to handle those things. Also, somebody can get in an accident, something can happen. And so you need to know, is this what are your thoughts on this? What would your position be if this were to happen?
Yeah, agreed. $5 from Jamnick06. What do you call an adult uncastrated male bovine that sneaks into Promise's room in Finland? Tinkle bowl. Hashtag fairy joke. Hashtag cow joke. Tinkle bowl.
Wow.
That's funny.
I wonder what a Finnish cow looks like. I don't know that I saw any. $5 from Jamnick06. Do you know where to get dragon milk from a cow with short legs? Hashtag cow joke. Hashtag I was in the mood. Thanks, Jamnick.
Nice. $5 from Alyssa Wynn. Your mom is so spacey. Your ma is so spacey that Carmen Sandiego would rather kidnap Promise's pink unicorn. I only knew about the 40th anniversary from PS5 Switch box art. That's awesome.
That's amazing. That's a fun little fact to have, though.
That also rolled so many things into one. Your mama's joke, your unicorn. It was good.
It was really impressive. Maybe we should also have some pink unicorn merch at this point too. That would be fun. $5 from Aaliyah Shauna Silverboat. To whoever stole my copy of Microsoft Office, I will find you. You have my word. What is Forrest Gump's password? 1Forrest1. Hashtag computer jokes. Amazing. Thank you, Aaliyah Shauna.
That's good. 1Forrest1 is good.
$9.99
from Rory.
Sorry. I was just going for it.
$9.99 from Rory. Just wanted to contribute to your great works. Never stop your efforts. Thank you, Rory. That's really nice.
Thanks, Rory.
Thank you so much.
That brings us to the end, also probably to the end of Alyssa and I's abilities, although we probably reached that when the show started. Love you all.
Oh my God.
So much. Thank you for being here. Thank you to Amargan for not only producing, but also call screening for us tonight. Thank you to everyone that called in. Thank you to everyone that shows up in the chat, for all the super chats, all of our moderators, everybody. Y'all are the best. And Alyssa,
we love you.
You're so person.
Gross. I love you. I love you. I love this community. I love this show. If you have a hard time getting into the lines, call 15 to 30 minutes before when the lines open. Because I saw that a bunch in the chat too. Because we would love to talk to you.
Also, our Patreon.com/call the line.
Call the line.